In 70 AD, Roman soldiers set fire to the most sacred building in Judaism. The Second Temple of Jerusalem burned for days as thousands screamed in agony. Bodies piled so high that blood flowed down the temple steps like rivers. This wasn't just war, this was the systematic destruction of an entire civilization. Today, we're diving into the Jewish-Roman wars that changed history forever. Picture this, it's 66 AD. The Roman Empire controls most of the known world. But in a small province called Judea, something unprecedented is brewing. The Jews are about to do what no other nation dared, revolt against Rome not once, not twice, but 3 separate times over 70 years. What drove them to such desperate measures? The answer lies in a toxic mix of religious oppression, crushing taxation, and cultural humiliation. The spark that ignited the First Jewish War was actually quite small. In Caesarea, Greeks and Jews were arguing over civil rights. Sounds familiar? But when the Roman governor Florus sided with the Greeks and then raided the temple treasury for back taxes, the Jews had enough. Riots erupted in Jerusalem. Roman soldiers were ambushed and killed. There was no turning back now. Emperor Nero was furious. No one rebels against Rome and lives to tell about it. He sent his best general, Vespasian, with 3 full legions, that's nearly 60,000 professional soldiers. Their mission? Crush the rebellion completely. But the Jews weren't going down without a fight. They had something the Romans didn't expect, absolute religious conviction and nothing left to lose. The siege of Jerusalem lasted 4 brutal years. By 70 AD, the city was surrounded by Roman siege engines and a massive wall to prevent escape. Inside, people were literally eating leather and grass to survive. Josephus, the Jewish historian, described mothers cooking their own babies. When the Romans finally broke through, they showed no mercy. They killed everyone, men, women, children, elderly. The streets ran red with blood. But here's what most people don't know, the destruction of the temple wasn't just military strategy. It was designed to erase Jewish identity forever. The temple wasn't just a building, it was the center of Jewish religious, economic, and social life. Without it, how could Judaism survive? The Romans thought they had solved the Jewish problem once and for all. They were wrong. The aftermath was catastrophic. Over 1 million Jews were killed or died from starvation and disease. Another 100,000 were sold into slavery across the Roman Empire. Jerusalem lay in ruins, and Jews were banned from entering their holy city. But amazingly, this wasn't the end. Jewish communities in places like Babylon, Alexandria, and even India kept the faith alive. The diaspora had begun. You'd think the Jews would give up after such devastation. But 65 years later, they tried again. The Bar Kokhba revolt of 132 AD was even more massive than the First War. This time, they had a charismatic leader who many believed was the Messiah. Bar Kokhba actually succeeded in recapturing Jerusalem and establishing an independent Jewish state for 3 years. The Romans were humiliated. Emperor Hadrian's response was swift and brutal. He brought 12 legions, nearly half the entire Roman army, to crush this revolt. The final battle took place at a fortress called Beitar. When it fell, Bar Kokhba's body was found under a pile of Roman soldiers. The message was clear, this is what happens when you challenge Rome. Hadrian's revenge was systematic and complete. He renamed Jerusalem Aelia Capitolina and Judea became Syria Palestina, deliberately using the name of the Jews' ancient enemies, the Philistines. Jews were banned from Jerusalem entirely. Scrolls of Jewish law were burned. Teaching Hebrew became punishable by death. The goal was clear, erase Jewish identity from history forever. But here's the incredible part, it didn't work. Despite being scattered from Spain to India, from Morocco to Central Asia, Jewish communities survived. They adapted, they preserved their traditions, and they never forgot Jerusalem. For nearly 2,000 years, they ended every Passover with the words, "Next year in Jerusalem." That diaspora connects directly to Jewish communities across South Asia and the Gulf today. The Jewish-Roman wars weren't just ancient history, they shaped the world we live in today. They created the Jewish diaspora, influenced early Christianity, and set patterns of resistance and survival that echo through centuries. Understanding these wars helps us understand the roots of Middle Eastern politics, the nature of religious conflict, and the power of identity to survive even the most determined attempts at destruction. Sometimes, the mightiest empires can destroy cities and temples, but they cannot destroy an idea whose time has not yet passed.